Hello world, my name's Ellie, and today I'm going to try something a bit different, and I'm going to start maybe doing some vlog videos about mental health, because it's something that's really important to me, and as well as benefiting me, I feel like these videos, they'll be spreading awareness for something where there is still so much stigma today. My thoughts are I'll cover topics such as medication, the stigmatization of mental health, the importance of trigger warnings, anything from treatment to my own personal journey, which I'll speak about quite a bit. On the subject of trigger warnings, in this video I'm going to be touching upon my own experiences and my own journey with depression, anxiety and eating disorders. So if those are topics that are difficult for you to hear and difficult to be around at the moment, then I'll say farewell to you just now and hopefully see you next time. In saying that, this may just be a one-off video. There's no way to tell, as some of you that are battling mental health will understand. It can be difficult to keep things going sometimes when you lack the motivation, and there are good days and some that aren't so good. So this may be a one-off, there may be others in the series. To continue talking about other things that are important. And you guys, feel free to give me some ideas as well, share your own experiences. If you have any questions, please ask away. I feel like the conversation around mental health is so important to have, and I would love for us to be able to have a bit of a dialogue about that. So please speak up, drop me some comments, PM, like whatever you like, and thank you. So like I say, my name's Ellie. And I didn't really get a diagnosis until later last year when I reached out for help, but I feel like mental illness is something that's been impacting me for the greater part of my life, since my early teens, through high school, through my university journey, and now into my adult life. I suppose it sort of started around my early teens. I've become quite emotional, some of the stuff is quite difficult to talk about. So, but that's just, you know, if you do know me in person, you know, that's what you get. If you don't, hello, I'm Ellie, I'm a very emotional being. So yeah, it started around my early teens, I would say, in high school. I've always been pretty unhappy with my own body, and this sort of translated into trying to control that through behaviours. In my case, what's known as bulimia nervosa, which is also known as bulimia, which just meant that I could expel food that I didn't want in my system in a way to try and control the unhappiness that I was feeling about myself. And that's something that still affects me to this day. Not the behaviours themselves, but the thoughts around them, the needing to sort of withhold food from myself. It certainly got worse before it got better when I moved to university, because being able to live independently, I had a lot more control over what I was putting into my body, how much I could eat. Some days I could choose not to eat and that would be fine. It wouldn't be noticed unless you were particularly good flatmates of mine and best friends who paid attention to such things. So I owe those people a lot. But that was a journey that I had to go on, not on my own. Luckily I had good friends through high school as well. A few in which I confided the things I was battling on, and they were extremely supportive. As well as that, I was bullied during my high school years, and that filled me with a terrible anxiety for going in every day, especially in the earlier years of my high school. I would find excuses not to go and deliberately do anything to not be there. Basically, the anxiety, it just felt like a fist around my throat, a fist around my chest, like just squeezing, and just made it was palpable. Like I just did not want to be there, and that in itself just brought me to these low moods and to deep dark places, which again maybe we can touch on in later videos, but for now we're just talking about the journey. So made it to uni, still struggle with my eating from time to time, but things got better. I spent time around wonderful chefs, several flatmates of mine who took it upon themselves to teach me how to cook various things, to check I was eating, which, you know, sometimes might sound like overstepping, but if you really do have a concern about somebody, I would say don't speak to them in public, obviously in front of other people, but confront them on their own. confront, maybe not being the right word, but do just discuss it with them. And I appreciate it now. At the time it might have been embarrassing to sort of deal with, but I appreciate all the care that those people took to just make sure that I was doing okay. As well as eating, like obviously I was balancing a lot of mental illness that I hadn't quite dealt with myself yet, and this would kind of manifest itself in crutches such as obviously my eating behaviours. Painkiller addictions became a bit of an issue for myself when I was becoming reliant on things involving codeine, and having sort of weaned myself off those. Alcohol being another one, obviously, a bit of a depressant in itself. And whenever I was going through things, particularly in second year, things kind of came to a head when I was going through particularly tough times with a boy, and I'd stopped eating and I wasn't eating as much, and then I would drink to the excess, and on one particular night out I passed out and gave quite a lot of my friends a scare, I think, and including myself. And that kind of motivated me to stop drinking until I kind of got that particular issue sorted out, to work on myself a bit, talk a bit more about my mental health, and then I continued this throughout my university years until I would say around my final year, when me and my best friend, we had a really engaging conversation about everything I'd been through in high school, things I hadn't really talked about for years, like pretty much since I was going through them. And I think it just made me appreciate how important it is to share your story. For everyone, that might not be how you deal with it, but if you feel like you might even benefit slightly from sharing your story, please find someone that will listen. A close friend, mentor, you name it, someone, a treatment, a service, someone, seek someone out, reach out for help. And it is not a sign of weakness, it is absolutely a sign of strength, because I feel like that was maybe the beginning of confronting a lot of my issues and a lot of my mental health and mental illness. So after that conversation, I sort of became a lot more honest on my social media about what I was going through, which gave me a lot of inspiration from hearing other people's experiences. Again, something I hope to maybe get through from this is hearing other people's inspiring tales, because often that is such a big part of your journey, is knowing you're part of a community that is understanding and that you can always go back to and hear someone that's been through it themselves, and that you're not alone. There are other people going through the same things that you are. And so being more open on social media really helped me there. I then looked into counselling. I live in quite a big city, so there's a really big queue for counselling. I didn't go private, but I did go through a counselling service that works on donation. Literally pennies would have been acceptable to them, but I ended up paying them quite a bit of money just because it was really, really worth my time. I went through CBT, which was cognitive behavioural therapy, for those who don't know. We can touch on that in later videos if you guys want. And I just found it so helpful, just in helping me to say out loud the things and untangle those thoughts that were inside and causing such extreme emotional highs and lows. The depression, like at this point, that I went on to get assessed, was causing me to not want to get out of bed some days. I really crashed after graduating, just in moods, just the high that was university. And postgraduate depression is such a common thing. If you are a graduate and watching this, like, you are not alone. Postgraduate depression is a huge deal that millions of people deal with worldwide, and you are not alone. Like, that high, it carries you, and a lot of people feel unsupported once they leave. That the support is there, it's just, it's hard to find, but I believe in you and you can do this, because I felt like I was in a really precarious position, having left university, having only just secured a flat, not having graduate jobs, and seeing other people move on to have graduate jobs, and my mental health just declining in that time as well. It was just not a good situation, and so this is when I went on and I chased up counselling, which really helped me. I looked into medicating, which I wasn't entirely sure was the right path for me, having never been on any form of antidepressant or mood stabilizer. And I did a lot of research into this. I spoke to a lot of friends. Of course, I don't perpetuate any stigma about medication. Obviously everyone just has their concerns about how it is going to impact themselves, their personality, physiologically. Is it going to make me feel sick? Is it going to make me feel worse? And the truth about, well, we might touch upon it in later videos, but the brief truth about it is that there's a lot of trial and error, and I tried without medication for a few months just to change up my routine and see if I could fix things that way. I went to the gym, which did make a big difference for myself. Just those natural endorphins and everything really, really helped me. And as well as the gym, I tried to sort of fix my eating a wee bit more, spend more of a balanced amount of time working, sleeping, seeing friends, but unfortunately my mental health was still in a state of disrepair, and so I tried, I think it was fluoxetine first of all, and just the side effects were too much to try and ride out. So I tried it for a few months, and the GP said, no, we're going to try you on something else. Knowing my history with eating disorders, he chose one that he knew wouldn't cause me to weight gain or my weight to fluctuate in a way that I couldn't control, because that would just perpetuate my depression even more. So he put me on escitalopram, which I've just been finding to be a really clean medication for myself. The times that I have, because of things out of my control, had to go off it, it's been fairly clean to come off. I haven't felt serious withdrawal or anything, but I do not advise going off your medication without talking to a professional first. I know a lot of friends that have managed it cold turkey, and I respect them so much for being able to do that themselves, but I know that I could not. I'm currently in the process of kind of reviewing where we are with my medication, but I'll update you as that happens. At the moment, things are good and pretty stable. I'm in a job that I enjoy, I'm in a relationship that I enjoy, I'm in a good flat, I have good friends, and I'm very fortunate in that way, because a lot of people I feel aren't able to receive all the help that they need to get, and that is extremely sad to hear. And I hope that everyone is able to receive the mental health services that they need, not just in Scotland, which is obviously where I'm from. If you can hear it in my accent, I'm told I have a bit of a confusing accent, but also out with Scotland. Yeah. So I think that's all for today's. I've sort of given a brief introduction to myself, my history with mental health and what it means to me. It's a subject I'm extremely passionate about, and I really aim to advocate for people suffering with experiencing and suffering with mental illness in their life, and just spread awareness about a topic that is so important to talk about, because we are all in this together and we can get through this. So thank you very much for listening, and I'll maybe see you next time. That's me out. See you later, guys.